guys, welcome back to Granya's Home and Kitchen. I know it's been forever since I did a video. My last videos were on the Instant Pot, and I hope that those of you that bought it are continuing to use it. I just love mine. I haven't done anything more unusual in it other than the recipes that I have put up, but I did cook my Christmas pudding in it, which was fantastic. I do make a lot of Christmas puddings and they cooked in an hour. So I will show you that hopefully next year when I'm making my puddings. At the time I was just rushed, stuck for time, and I didn't have time to video it. So I hope you are still enjoying your Instant Pot. So today I am going to make an old favourite. I'm sure almost everybody on here will have had a piece of this before. I know definitely in Ireland it would have been a popular dessert, and it is pineapple upside down cake. This cake is so delicious. So let's get started. This recipe was actually inspired by Anna Olsen. I really like her cooking style, and I did look through a couple of my old cookbooks, and then I found this recipe and it just appealed to me because there's buttermilk in it. I don't know why the buttermilk appealed to me. So let's get started. So we start off, guys, with the fruit layer. So I'm actually going to bake the whole cake in this pan. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to put the ingredients in, and then I'm going to take you over to my stove and we're going to start cooking. We are going to need 1/4 cup of butter, which is, I believe, 1/8 of a pound. So that's a 1/2 pound, 1/4 pound, 1/8 pound. Yes, 1/8 pound. So how I measure, I just do this by eye. Okay, so we take our 1/2 pound, our 1/4 pound, our 1/8 pound. So, it's just out of the fridge. So there we go. Our 1/4 cup, our 1/8 pound of butter. To this, we are going to use packed brown sugar. So make sure it's the packed brown sugar and not the more granulated one. And we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of this to our pan. I got these new cups in Dollarama. So we're going to do 2/3 of a cup. So I'm going to take my 1/3 cup measure. And actually I'll probably, the only thing about this sugar is it goes hard so quickly. I have some in there that I can't use. So it sometimes can be a bit wasteful, but c'est la vie. Okay, over to my stove, and you can turn it on high to start to melt the butter. This kind of creates a caramel to sit the fruit in, and then you put your sponge base on top, and then when it's all done, you flip it. You can see the butter is almost melted. Oh, one other thing, guys, put your oven on. If you are in Ireland, about 180 degrees, in Canada 350. So you can see it's bubbling away, it's nice and caramelly. And actually this was a hint I got from Anna Olsen, which I thought was brilliant. So it'll still feel gritty. So she said to add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice to the mixture, and apparently it'll break down the sugar. So I have never done this before, so let's try it. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Oh yeah, and the grittiness feeling is gone away. Okay, so that's cooked enough. You have to be careful you don't burn it, guys, because this would burn very easily. Doesn't that look delish? Okay, now I'm just using a tin of pineapples. So just open the pineapple. You can use fresh pineapples for this if you like also. I'm sure it would be delightful with fresh pineapple. I don't have any. Now, you're going to take your rings and you're going to lay your rings. Let me just actually move this around. You're going to lay your rings down into your caramel. This will be hot, so be very careful. I'm just using my fingers. If you want to use a fork or a knife, go ahead, but I just find this a little bit easier. Now let's get one in the middle there. I think we might get another one. I think we just might. Okay, one more. Actually, well, there's 2 more left in the tin, but we get another one in there. Okay, so there is our base, which will become our top. Now for the sponge. The sponge is quite similar to what I used for my carrot cake. In Anna's recipe, she uses vegetable oil, but I actually don't have any vegetable oil, so I'm going to use coconut oil. And then Anna actually adds coconut, so because I'm using coconut oil, I won't be adding the extra coconut. So 1/3 of a cup of coconut oil. It smells so good. And to this, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Now guys, I'm just going to judge it. If you need to use your quarter measure and your half measure, by all means do. Actually, let's give it a good shake first. I bought this to make brown bread, and then I saw her recipe and I'm like, ooh, I love myself a little bit of buttermilk in my baking. So I'm going to measure 3/4 of a cup, approximately. Okay, so approximately, you know me. Nothing's ever cast in stone. And to this we're going to add 3 large eggs. There's no butter in this, so it's very similar to my carrot cake recipe. If you haven't tried my carrot cake recipe, guys, you need to try it. It is absolutely delightful. It is such a good recipe. Okay, so 3 large eggs. And to this we're going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Here, if you're at home, you can use, well, I mean, you can get self-raising flour here. I know somebody said to me on one of my videos, you know you can get self-raising flour in Canada. Yes, absolutely you can, but it is actually more expensive. So that's why I don't buy it. I just use the all-purpose, and then I add my baking powder to it. A cup, and I'm going to judge it again, guys, but by all means, measure it out and a half. Okay, so 1.5 cups of flour. 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Then I'm not using my proper measure, guys, so I will judge it. Okay, so about 3/4 of a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I don't know if I showed you this before. So if any of you did home economics in school, your teacher would have shown you how to measure 1/4 teaspoons, because back in those days, I guess they didn't have quarter measures. So you would take your half measure, that's not really that easy to do it with this baking soda, but, right? So that's kind of, so you would use your knife to cut down the middle and then cut across, and then you would put the excess back in. Okay, now I'm going to use my paddle for this, guys. I'm not going to use my whisk. And let's get this going, and then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so all in, slowly. Oh, somebody's coming. I think it's my grandson. Okay guys, sorry, my daughter came in, so I had to turn off. So you can see I have mixed up the ingredients. Now I'm just going to add a tiny drop of vanilla and a little bit of nutmeg. I love nutmeg, so I just buy it like this in the bag, and I'm going to put in a pinch. So I'm just going to use my finger and put in a pinch of nutmeg. Okay, so now we're going to mix it again. Give it a good mix. So now we're going to take our pineapple and caramel mixture, and we're going to pour our batter over. I'm just going to pour that over the pineapples. Just make sure that the pineapples are fully covered. We're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to set the timer for half an hour. We're going to check it after half an hour. If it's not done, we'll put it back in for about another 10 minutes. Okay, so let's pop it in the oven. So I have just taken it out of the oven and I checked it with a knife. Let's do it again so I can show you. And it was absolutely perfect. So I just went in at an angle, pull it out, and you can see the knife is clean. So it is cooked perfectly. So I'm going to leave it now for about a half an hour to cool down, and then I'll come back to you and we shall flip it. Fingers crossed. It smells absolutely delicious. So the cake has been sitting for half an hour, and now I'm going to take the plate, I'm going to put it on top, and we're going to flip it, and fingers crossed everything will come out okay. And oh my gosh, I'm getting old guys, my arthritis. And doesn't that look fabulous, guys? Now I'm going to take a little sliver of it to taste it. I've got to put my glasses on so I don't take a huge piece. And oh my gosh, the sponge looks amazing. I didn't really take much pineapple, but there is the sponge. Oh, doesn't that look gorgeous? Well, you can actually taste the buttermilk. You can taste the tang of the buttermilk with the sweetness of the caramel. It is so good, guys. So good, so simple, and just an old traditional pineapple upside down cake. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to ask below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I hope you'll try this. It's absolutely gorgeous, and have a wonderful day. Take care, guys.